Hey everybody, welcome back. We have officially decided the name of this podcast is HighTideMTG. Woohoo, we did it. We came up with a name.
Finally got there.
Bless.
Yeah. Today we got a couple of exciting things that we're going to talk about. Rotation is coming up, so we're going to talk about, Jose's got some rotation specs for us that he's excited about.
Rotatos.
Rotatos, yes.
I'm a big Roto fan.
And then Mason, John, and myself were at a Legacy Cube last night, and that was sweet. So we've got some audio from that we'll probably drop at some point, but we'll just throw a little bit of bullshit around about that for now. And then Vintage.
Vintage, baby.
Of all things for us to get into now is proxy vintage.
Yes.
The taste of power.
A couple of games the other day, and I've never played Vintage before, and now I don't think I can go back. I have to do it.
I'm a big fan of Vintage, bro.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna go sell my kidney and a few more limbs so that I can buy a Black Lotus.
Actually, hold on.
Yeah, it's gonna take a couple kidneys.
No. We did the research. You would actually be able to buy several Black Lotuses for one kidney.
Oh, that's good to know.
They're pretty good on the market.
Yeah, you can get for one kidney, one kidney, about 400 grand. So that's like 10 Lotuses.
Does it get downgraded based on condition?
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
mean, technically, if you lose all of it, you're dead.
I just know that I've had a kidney stone, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't get 40K for my shit. It's a little played.
No, I said 400, dog.
Yeah,
400.
Oh.
My kidney is definitely VG.
Yeah, mine's excellent for sure. I'm just kidding. It's fucked. You literally can't drink.
Okay, so we're gonna get right into that stuff. Jose, what you got for us?
All right. I'm looking for cards that are when rotation happens, usually that's when their lowest point is.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily happen for every single card, but like for most cards, rotation is where they're going to dip to the furthest because, everyone that's playing standard is going to get rid of them, selling them to stores. So stores have way too much of them, so they're going to lower the price of them.
For clarity, rotation this time around is going to be Core 2019. Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan, and Dominaria.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get Jose's Rotatos, those cheap-ass things that people have just been dumping. They were standard all-stars, maybe, and now they're going to be super cheap, but might bump back up.
So, yeah. I mean, I think the best one right now, like no joke, is Wayward Swordtooth, because...
That card's sweet.
Besides it being sweet, it costs the same as Azusa. It doesn't let you play the same amount of lands as Azusa obviously, but when you're playing,
it's redundancy for the deck.
Yeah, I mean, besides redundancy, like people that can't afford an Azusa, they're like $22. They're probably gonna be fine with springing like $8 to $10 for this card. It's $7 right now. Yeah. I think it's probably gonna end up going slightly higher than that, like probably to 15 at one point, and then maybe a little bit later.
I would assume that too.
Yeah, eventually get up to that $20 mark.
I wish I had actually been paying attention when it first got spoiled, because I think it was sitting at as low as like $4 for a while, and then people tried to make it happen in standard.
It was 69 cents.
Yeah, it was dirt cheap. People thought that card was naturally garbage.
Yeah. I mean, they read the card and they were like, "This reminds me of Azusa, but not as good." And then people were like, "There has to be not good." And then they played it and they're like, "Wait a minute, this card."
They're like, "Oh, it's really easy to have 10 permanents in play."
Especially when you could play an extra permanent for free every turn. But yeah,
I think a big thing about that changed when people actually learned how City's Blessing worked. It's not that like you always need 10 permanents. It's the first time you have 10 permanents, you just have the City's Blessing forever.
But you have to have a permanent with City's Blessing or a spell with City's Blessing, or else you lose or you don't get City's Blessing, which is weird. That's a weird interaction.
Yeah, it's weird that it's not inherent all the time.
Yeah, you can't
every
just
time
have,
you hit your 10th permanent.
Yeah, you can't just have 10 permanents to get City's Blessing. So
you're like casting your like 10th permanent creature, and they're just like, okay, I'm gonna kill your thing with a send on it before that happens.
Exactly. Yeah, which is kind of annoying.
I don't play enough standard to know if that actually happened to anybody, but I know that that's possible.
I'll fully admit to not playing that standard environment.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I've seen people lose City's Blessing when they cast. I forgot the name of the spell, but it's like draw 2, discard a card. If you have City's Blessing, draw 2, and they paid for it with a treasure token that would have given them City's Blessing, and I'm just like, lamau.
That's pretty bad.
It was pretty funny. But yeah, Wayward Swortooth sitting at $7.
That's
I think,
pretty good.
Like I said, I think it'll hit like 15 probably in like a year, and then maybe like 20 to 22 in like a couple more years.
To me, that sounds like that's an EDH card for sure, right?
Yeah.
What are you looking at for modern, for an example?
For modern, probably search for Escanta. It's only $750 right now.
Wow. I think pretty low.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's gonna drop. I think it's gonna drop even more because like it's not doing anything right now, and I think that it
got outclassed pretty hard by Narset.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't.
fair.
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to be doing anything for a while. So it's just going to be sitting at that price for a few years. I do think that it will eventually find a home where it actually will be relevant. Maybe after some bans happen, but
I mean, if nothing else, it's a mono blue rampant growth, right? That's pretty good.
yeah. And then I kind of was looking at Legion's Landing, but that card is just not good at all. I mean, I felt like it had a bunch of. I felt like it had a lot of bodies potential, but then it's just not good at all. And then
got it.
Siren Storm Tamer is kind of adorable, but I don't think that's gonna be played in modern either.
I was always embarrassed that card ever was over $1.
Yeah, I mean another one that we might see in modern is Damping Sphere. I mean it's $1.79 right now. Since packs aren't gonna be open as much, it's gonna start slowly going up and up and up. I think it's gonna do the same thing that Relic of Progenitus did, or like something similar to that, where it just slowly goes up and people were just expected to pay the price on it, and then eventually they're like, when did this get to $7? Like
Sure.
Chromatic Star, Relic of Progenitus, and like just basic commons and uncommons, Manamorphose even, like that one is just stupid.
Real,
yeah, it's just $20 common. It's nutty. And then I'm kind of looking at Teferi too as like a meme for modern. Like, I don't know if it's going to be good or not. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria.
How far did he drop at this point?
He's 20.
He's 20.
Yeah,
I think
he's the same as Baby Teferi.
I'm curious about that one too, because I don't see it going past 25. If I'm being realistically, looking at the long spectrum of modern and where things are going.
Yeah, I'm looking at the same thing too. Unless,
well, here's the other thing: is what do we think about Historic potentially making it to paper? Because if Historic makes it to paper, that boy's gonna see some play.
I don't think so.
No? Why not?
Because of the span of where Historic will.
You're not gonna have good 2-mana counter spells, so it's not gonna matter.
Just look at where Standard stands right now. Assuming that Historic is a format, right? What cards aren't in Standard right now make Teferi better versus the cards that make Mono Red better versus the cards that make green aggro better.
Okay. Hold up. Before we get into, as a person who doesn't play any arena, what's Historic?
Okay. So Historic is going to be essentially the arena version of modern.
Okay.
It's going to go back to Amonkhet.
I don't think it's going that far back.
It's so far as it will go back.
It's not everything that they have programmed into the client.
The only two other sets that are in there that are programmed into the client but won't be legal are Shadows over Innistrad Block and Kaladesh.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah, right. Amonkhet's the earliest it's going to go.
Earliest. All right.
Okay. But it also sounds like they're going to be introducing cards from outside of those formats in, because when they promoted it a little while back, they were asking questions like what cards you'll see in Historic, potentially Brainstorm, Dark Confidant.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's
a weird statement to just throw at us Wizards, and then literally haven't talked about it since.
I also saw people posting on Reddit about there's the Momir Vig format is on Arena, and one of the games people were playing, they got a Gristlebrand.
Really?
Yeah. So he's in the client. That doesn't mean that he's going to be brought in, but that means that he could be brought in. He's in the client already.
There was a weird post where they were talking about a bunch of cards that they farmed, data farmed or whatever it's called. And
data mine.
Data mine. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
And there were some ridiculous cards in there. I can't find it right now, but I really want to know what those are.
Glad that Wizards walked back
that makes sense though as a thing to not end up in paper. If it sounds like it's them trying to curate their own kind of format in an online space.
But I mean,
I think they're trying to find an excuse to port over modern into Arena.
Can drive sales
by
right?
trickling it.
I I get that. I've also heard that like kind of the reason why they're trying to do it is they're trying to give the people who are not excited about a current standard environment a reason to be playing on Arena, and also like all that, you know, all the investment that they have in the cards that are rotating out, like, you know,
exactly.
It's the problem of rotation is like, hey, that deck that I spent money on is not legal anymore. What do I do with it? Well,
yeah, it's a big problem of just standard in general, especially when like they want to make Arena the like actual Magic.
Yeah,
it's to give Arena an eternal format, correct?
I think it's more of a reason to give people a reason to constantly log on every day
to keep coming back.
The problem with standard, eventually it gets solved, and then you have.
But that's why rotation is good for standard.
Exactly,
it just keeps it fresh. But
like unfortunately, sometimes you get 3 months of Nexus of Fate mirror matches, and
or
it's like
3 months of,
I don't want to play this.
Saheeli Felidar.
Yeah. Also, one thing that I've learned from talking to people that help program Moto is that interactions between cards are very complicated.
That makes sense.
So them trickling it in could also just be them, you know, I really don't know how this is going to work if we put it into the system and, you know, some wacky interaction happens. So they're trickling them in to make sure that nothing is going to break, and then they trickle more in and then make sure nothing's going to break. And then eventually they'll be able to see, okay, these cards are similar enough to where we can put them into the game without actually destroying, you know, this system that they have right now. Because if they just dump all of Modern into MTG Arena, I feel like it's just going to straight up break the game. And I think that no one's going to be having a good time.
Yeah, that'd be a thing. That's fine. Just do it, but do it pre-Hogak ban, because that's what everybody wants to play, right?
I love whenever my opponent says Hogak. It's my favorite thing. The Gak.
You
honestly, just got gacked, bro.
I saw a couple of games of Hogak being played. As someone who doesn't play a lot of Modern, I just saw a couple of like Moto games. I like, as much as I'm sure people who played Modern were sick of seeing that deck, it looked really fucking sweet. Like,
I mean, you played Vintage?
Oh yeah, we played a little bit of Vintage.
And I mean, Hogak felt like a Vintage deck in Modern.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
2 more favorite specs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you up with a spicy one here. Don't buy Nicol Bolas the Ravager right now.
Oh, put some more spice on that Rotato. Why shouldn't I buy Nicol Bolas?
Well, because like, I think I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of people are holding on to this card because they think that it's gonna go up. I think $11 is an okay price for it. I think it might hit 15 at one point, but I don't think it's gonna be any higher than that.
Okay.
What do you think people are gonna put it in and try it out in?
Literally any kind of EDH deck that has either Grixis mana symbols in it, or they want to have it as the commander. Because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, dude. Flipping over that Bolas is sweet. +2, draw 2. Woo! That's crispy.
Good.
Yeah. But I don't think $11 right now is a good time to get it. I do think that you should get, I mean, these are very basic, but Scapeshift and Crucible Worlds. Like, historically, Scapeshift has been around 25, 30. Even without extra printings, I think it'll still hit about 25. And then for Crucible, that thing has always been 35 to like even 70 at one point. So
what are those two sitting at now?
23 and 13.
Meaning,
so $23.
Crucible?
No. Crucible is 23 and Scapeshift is 13.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So I think Scapeshift is definitely a good buy right now. And then Scapeshift or Crucible, I would pick them up. Probably not dump. Probably not get like 8 of them, but I would get like 1 or 2 maybe. Even the Judge promos are actually pretty cheap right now.
Do you think Crucible is going to be less relevant with Ren and 6 available to people who would be wanting to play Crucible?
Well, Crucible of Worlds doesn't say green and red.
That's true.
So,
but how many like land decks are you playing that are not based in green?
I mean, I don't want to make a joke here, but Vintage is kind of a format where you could play Crucible of Worlds.
Crucible's a sideboard in Tron now because of Karn.
Yeah.
If they try to wasteland you, like Ghost Quarter Lock you just counter it by getting Crucible.
Okay. All right. Hot. Well, thank you for those spectacular Rotatos.
Spectacular specs. Got him.
All right. Let's pivot into Cube and talk about this ridiculous draft environment that we were in last night.
Gosh, so yeah, we had such a good time. It was me, John, and Miller at Cube. Jose, you were currently dying on a couch when we were drafting.
Dying on the snack.
It was a buddy of ours.
Counter. Doesn't resolve.
Oof.
Pepto-Bismol countered that.
I'm sorry I cut you off, John. It was not my turn in the rotation to play a counter spell.
Oops. Hold priority.
Yeah.
I have drafted in that draft before.
You
Okay.
It is a really sweet cube.
Yeah, I remember playing you in that last draft. That was sweet.
What were you guys playing?
Oh, dude. Oh my God. I'm so mad about that because like I draft so pack one pick one on that draft. I was like, man, that's a Gaia's Cradle. I'm gonna jam that into my deck, and then every single pack I got after that was just like, please play literally anything else. And I was playing like Boros. I was playing Boros aggro at the end of it.
That's right.
And like I don't even remember how I ended up doing it. I think I went like, was it like 2-1?
You went 2-1. We played in the finals.
Yeah. So I was so mad that I lost to the card that I traded you because of. What was it, Cogwork Librarian or something?
Is one of those Cogwork conspiracy guys reveal this card when you draft it, blah, blah, blah.
Deal broker.
Yeah,
deal
Cogwork
broker.
Deal broker, yeah. And then I lost because I gave you that card, and the Inferno Titan that you gave me was never cast once.
The sweetest trade ever.
I'm so upset.
What was the trade? It was Inferno Titan for what?
It was
for a Gaia's
my
Cradle?
Inferno Titan for his Gaia's Cradle.
Hot.
So
in my green, just straight green deck with like splash blue and black for other playables.
Mono green Stompy.
Oof. Oof. And you gave him a Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah, I used that Gaia's Cradle to cast a Hydroid Krasis for 11.
Ooh.
That
You were
seems
playing that
strong.
one last night.
That seems
Hydroid Krasis is really good,
That
and
card
I always
seems
get past it, and I will always take it.
I
Cube
undervalued
card.
that card. I should have taken that, I think, because that card seems
If you
absolutely
think
nuts.
Sphinx's Revelation is a good card, Hydroid Krasis is the exact same card, but on a body with flying and trample.
It's almost the same card.
It's basically the same, because it's better.
You trade
That's the
you
difference.
trade half your draws and half your life for a body.
Okay.
Yeah, a big body
Yeah, that's true.
that floats
Okay.
in the air.
Okay. Expel motherfuckers.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Expels are tight.
Can I ask you just where? So getting back into last night, like
Yeah.
what was your first pick? Because I think this cube is really interesting because a lot of the times when I'm drafting it, my first pick doesn't actually color the rest of my deck because it's cube.
That is a
But
rare
I'm just
thing to happen.
curious if that happened with you. So I wanted to know, pack one, pick one. What did you get?
I had a choice between Sulfuric Vortex and Opposition.
Okay.
And I know I hate playing like weenie or burn decks in an environment that is curated to be the best cards
Big power
to do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So where if I was trying to win a prize or something, I'm slamming that Sulfuric Vortex.
Of course, yeah.
But in other words, I'm still just going to take this really good opposition that I have to build around.
Yeah, again, we're just drafting cube for fun. There's nothing at stake. It's just the draft is insane, and then the games are nuts.
Yeah.
The only thing at stake is bragging rights.
I think I went pick one opposition, and then my second pick was Deep Forest Hermit. So I was like, I was on track.
That's pretty good.
But then I saw nothing else for that archetype.
I don't think.
What'd you end up in?
I don't think you tech and pick Deep Forest Hermit because I definitely saw Deep Forest Hermit. We were across the table from each other.
You might have saw something else. I definitely picked it. It was either the second or third pick, 100%.
His cube has a Deep Forest Hermit and her Hermit Druid.
Deranged Hermit.
Deranged Hermit. Yeah, it has Deranged Hermit.
Well, I just know because I remember like Tavis bitching about the fact that he pulled a foiled Deranged or Deep Forest Hermit from his packs. They already had one in his cube that he had just bought. So like when it came to me, I was like, it's that card.
Lamau. Maybe you grabbed the.
No, I definitely had a Deep Forest Hermit.
Maybe he put both of them in there.
Oh my God.
I do wonder that sometimes where it's like, did he accidentally put this thing in twice?
I don't remember what my pack one pick one was.
What?
What? I'm bad at remembering that shit.
What?
Well, because
That's literally the one thing you're supposed to care about.
No,
I remember
'cause-
my pack one pick one from the first time I drafted his cube
Oof.
several months ago.
Well, because
Same. Noble Hierarch.
I think it was my pack 1 pick 2.
Mox Opal
was what I was the card that I remember, because I don't remember what my pack 1 pick 1 was, but my pack 1 pick 2 was Demonic Tutor. And I was like, this seems strong.
Okay, fine. Demonic Tutor overrides a lot of pack 1 pick 1.
If your pack 1 pick 1 was actual garbage, like that whole 15 card pack was terrible.
No, there was good stuff in there. It's just I don't remember.
Wasn't Demonic Tutor.
Yeah, it's definitely not DT.
That got passed to you.
Yeah, it got passed to me. I was looking through the pack.
Who the fuck was passing you Demonic Tutor?
Wasn't Kitty feeding you?
Kitty was feeding Nicole, who was feeding me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nicole.
One of those things makes more sense than the other.
Yeah, Nicole passed me the pack, and I looked through, and I literally I looked at every single card in the pack, and I was like, man, I'm kind of digging this card, kind of digging this card. Got to the end of the pack, and I was like, oh, this is the correct choice. This is actually the most versatile and most useful card in this pack.
I hope someday to have Nicole on this podcast so I can yell at her in person about passing fucking Demonic Tutor to Miller.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Oh my God.
Boy.
Well, okay. Well, that's a great fucking. Yeah,
I got
I
got Demonic Tutor, and I think my 3rd or 4th pick was Lion's Eye Diamond, and I was just like, what the fuck? This seems sweet.
I definitely.
See, that one was definitely the same thing. I saw that one. So you have to have seen it later than that.
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of anger across the table here.
So one of the important things about drafting Cube is that there's definitely a different experience that you're going to have, depending on whether even one of those persons at your Cube has not drafted Cube before.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cube is a big proponent of picking up signals. The signals get created by everybody ignoring the first 3 cards they picked. Just that's just a fucking mulligan. Throw them away.
Mm-hmm.
And that pack, a 4-ish pick where you're like, oh, this made it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm gonna take all the things that go with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes you get rewarded, right? And maybe your first pick, it just happens to be on it. That's what happened to me last time. I pack 1 pick 1 Noble Hierarch because the other 14 cards were completely worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then got past a Primeval Titan somewhere along the way, and it just worked out.
Hell yeah.
Last night, there were signals being made throughout pack 1 that made no sense, and trying to navigate that draft was pretty hard. I think a lot of people did manage to, but then there was people just with really messy decks.
So this is something that I love drafting, but I've never been able to pick up on signals and how you read them. It feels like you have to know all of the archetypes in a draft in order to really be picking up on signals.
That's true of a normal everyday day-to-day draft.
Okay.
In Cube it's a little different because you can just go by overall value of the cards. Okay. So you getting a DT passed to you,
mm-hmm.
that's a huge signal.
Yeah.
Because that means somebody actively didn't want to be in black.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Depending on how far that DT made it to you, you can then tell how many people chose to actively not be in black.
Okay. Yeah, if it's the 10th pick in the pack and there's a DT in there, which no universe does that happen, but in Magical Christmas Land it did.
Urborg coming all the way back to me after I wheeled it, and it came all the way back to me. I was like, well, I guess I'm the only person who's heavy in black.
Clearly,
exactly.
If you're wheeling Urborgs, you're good for black.
So it sounds like you were picking up on signals. You just didn't know that you were picking up on signals.
I committed really early to heavy into black, and it went well for me. I got Dark Ritual.
Yeah, sometimes it just works out.
Hymn to Torok and shit like that. It worked. It went well.
But I
didn't win any games, but it went well.
The difference is noticing when that Urborg comes around, and then you're like, oh, this is clear. Just making that note. That's just picking up signals. Mm-hmm. It's nothing as in depth as, oh well, this combo deck is clearly open and all of these cards are going
I was past this card pretty late. It seems like the reanimate archetype is still open right now. I'm gonna start picking those up.
The percentage chance that there's gonna be a reanimate target in the next 2 packs is higher than it would be.
And reanimate in the cube strategy, everybody knows that that's a powerful thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like playing Storm where you can't pick up on signals. You have to force it and hope that it happens.
You better get it.
Yeah, I think Reanimate and Storm are like traps of cubes, because it's
100%.
Oh man, I got really good Storm cards in my first pack. I can only pick one of these 3. Oh god, I'm praying to God that these wheel. But if it's like pack one, pick one, you're fine because like you can always pivot into something else. But
and then you pick up a conspiracy card that says let you draft the whole pack.
Mason, what was in that pack that you drafted every card of?
Oh my gosh, that God pack. So for reference for people, pack one picked one. Birthing pod.
Ooh.
Pack 2, Siege Rhino.
Oh, that's right. You played that Siege Rhino on me many times.
Big fan. I got a pack which I'm fairly confident had, at the very least, it had a Kitchen Finks in it, as well as, I believe, a Resto Angel, I think, might have been rolling around in it.
Yeah, that's enough to...
And an Eternal Witness.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I know because this is the pack I passed to you.
Yeah.
And when you were like, I'm taking this whole pack, I was like, oh, he's just green then.
Yeah, it was just all of these bonkers.
It was
green
Land
cards.
War Elf.
Yeah, Land War Elf, which I never
Ewit.
played. Ewit.
Resto Angel.
Yeah.
And Kitchen Finks.
Okay,
And Kitchen
All
Finks.
in one pack.
I did see that pack. I remember seeing the Ewit and being like, I don't think I want to try and do double green.
It was
this not black, me no like.
it was crazy. Whatever it was in exact contents, someday I'll take photos of packs as I'm like drafting them
What a good idea.
to actually like accurately redescribe how sweet this draft format is.
That would be really interesting, I think.
But
I mean,
like it was something I was like, all right, here we go. And yeah, I could have been much heavier in green. I ended up having to sacrifice some picks for fixing to go full Abzan, but yeah, it was pretty nuts.
So where did all our decks actually end up?
So yeah, that's a good point. So I definitely ended up still forcing the value pod. I somehow punted and didn't get a 5-drop, so I couldn't pod chain into the Grave Titan I picked up, which felt kind of bad. But I did do some. I picked up a couple of Planeswalkers, which this is a pretty Planeswalker-like cube. There's like I think 9 in total. Was
somewhere around 10, yeah,
the
give or
final
take.
count?
Yeah, including a couple of Flipwalkers.
Plus a Deathrite Shaman.
Oh, that too.
Which I did pick up.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Also, I was so playing Deathrite Shaman was so great.
So good.
But yeah, no, I just ended up in like an Abzan value pod list, something Patrick would be really pissed about. Like he'd be like, "Man, how'd you pick such trash card?" But like very creature heavy.
You got a Volrath Stronghold going in there, and that got you some serious value.
Well,
yeah,
it
you were
just
getting
seems
value.
super good in a. You're like, all right, I'm going to sacrifice this thing, and now I can put it back on top and play it again, and sacrifice it for something new. But so I ended up pack one, pick one, and then I just kind of forced it and made it happen. And there were some signals, and I had a couple of good conspiracy cards to get me through it. But yeah, how did the other two decks end up here?
I started mono black, and I was basically mono black the whole time. I picked up a couple of I picked up a Badlands because I had Kolaghan's Command and was pretty excited about trying to play that. And also wound up with Mystical Tutor, Gifts Ungiven, that fucking Tezzeret faced draw 3, discard 2 unless you discard an artifact instant.
Gambit.
Yeah, Tezzeret's Gambit.
Tezzeret's Gambit, I think.
Yeah.
No, Tezzeret's Gambit's the proliferate one.
You're right.
I don't know the name of the card. Whatever.
It's Thirst for Knowledge.
Thirst
it's the
for-
one
yeah.
with Tezzeret's art on it. That's
Tezzeret
what
art, yeah.
It does have Tezzeret on it.
That's the one.
I feel dumb.
Yeah, no, I remember we played game 1.
Yeah, I splashed blue for those cards so that I could throw my Prime Time and my what's that Archon name? Ashen Rider and
you really wanted the Careful Study I picked up on pack 3.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been good. I would have taken a Frantic Search too if that had been in there, but I don't know.
It was in there.
It was?
I saw it.
That would have been
It is?
hot.
I passed it.
Dang.
Yeah. No, that would have been real nice. But yeah, I had Lotus Petal, I had Reanimate and Entomb, so I had the possibility to get that turn 1 major significant threat online. Oh, I had the Sundering Titan too, which I don't think I ever got onto the battlefield.
Really? I thought Tavis got the Sundering Titan.
No, Miller definitely had it. There was a time where Miller could have gone for it, but you went for the Ashen Rider instead.
That was the right call.
It was, absolutely. You totally
Oh, you were
torched
going
my lands.
off with that Ashen Rider.
Yeah, Ashen Rider was nuts. We actually figured out
Ashen
that
Rider
I was
Phyrexian
playing that
Rider.
wrong because I was playing Recurring Nightmare without sacking a creature because I didn't read the card properly.
That game one was bad.
I was like, this card is nuts.
No. You have to.
So-
you have to swap something.
It's still good, but it's not as good as I thought it was.
Yeah, on game 2, I reread it and I was like, oh yeah, I remember. I used to play this card a lot too. That's right. You do need something to sack.
You do need a body on board. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put Ophiomancer back in the main.
Bing bong.
Yeah, the trick is you just have to have 2 guys with ETB effects, and you just swap them out for each other every turn.
Yeah, that's the thing to do for sure. If I just like swapped Ashen Rider and Sundering Titan every turn, that would have been hot.
You will eventually have no mana to continue that loop, but
Yeah. No, I just keep naming lands that I don't have. Because it's any number, right?
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
you have to pick
have to pick-
one of every available basic land type.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. Yeah.
Well,
That wouldn't
They
work
have
out
to.
for
There
me.
has to be the basic land type. So as long as you don't have like Urborg in play, and you have like non-basics, so like Blackleaf Cliffs or
I had
whatever.
that
Say,
one. I had
Yeah,
the,
you
the
don't have-
blue-black one of that.
you
too.
don't have to touch those guys because they don't have a basic land type attached to them.
yeah.
Where did your list wind up?
It was base Sultai, but technically I was on 5 color. Somewhere in pack 1, I ended up finding Leovold, and I was like, "Yep, that's what we're doing." And then I took the Leovold and immediately got past the Wheel of Fortune, and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
that's what we're doing." Ended up with the City of Brass, Imperial Seal, Vamp Tutor. So I wasn't concerned about my fixing. I had perfect Sultai mana, and then just generic color fixing. So I can support the 2 cards I splashed, which were Wheel of Fortune and Fractured Identity.
Did that get any value for you?
No, every time I had Fractured Identity, I was already winning the game. So it just kind of sat there.
I saw that come through, and like if I had been in colors for it, I might have wanted to pull it, but that's only because I'm used to playing in EDH, where like you can do some really silly bullshit with it.
Yeah, I took it because I was really removal light.
Okay.
I ended up having to pass a Fatal Push early in pack 1 that didn't come back.
Right.
I don't remember what black removal. I got a targeted black removal spell, but that was the only one I had. Cast Down.
Got
That's
it.
right.
I definitely saw a Murderous Cut going around too. I was like, I should pick that up.
Yeah, I didn't see
I
that.
passed like every
Yeah.
single removal spell.
Must have been going the other way.
But yeah, round 1, game 1, I had a series of turns where I cast Leovold. The second turn, I set up Engineered Explosives to clear a board of 1-drops. Set the explosives, pass my turn. Opponent passed his turn. I crack the explosives, blow up all his 1s.
Oh man.
Untap, play my 5th land, play Wheel of Fortune.
Game over.
He dumps his hand, draws 1 card, has no creatures in play. He has 3 mana, and then I played Standstill.
Ooh.
And it felt really good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I didn't even know that card was in there.
Yeah.
That's hot.
That was like one of my first 5 picks. I was like
This card
very
is-
confident that I was going into some type of control deck. It was blue-black for a while. Then I saw the Leovold, and I was like, all right, this is what we're going to try and do. And I ended up in like a Sultai mid-range.
Well, all of us had a ton of fun, I think, and we're looking forward to opportunity to draft that cube once again.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tavis knows that I'm just constantly locked. I will never not show up for that format.
Every
no,
couple of weeks.
Any opportunity I can, I'm in for that.
I just want someone to Armageddon me while I'm playing while I'm playing Affinity again, because my god, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. My opponent's like, all right, I'm on curve. Cool, I'm gonna Armageddon your 2 artifact lands and my 4 real lands.
Yeah, speaking of commitment to like a deck, if I wanted to actually have won that event, pack 1 was a Sulfuric Vortex that I passed. Then immediately pack 2 passed to me was a Geddon. And I was like,
Yep.
That would have been one.
That was in my first
Feels.
pack. I remember that. Yeah, it was Armageddon. I'm like, do I want to be this guy? No.
Yep.
No.
Oh, I want to just throw this awful thing out there that I did. I wound up with Prime Time as one of my reanimation targets, and so
oh, you did have prime time.
Yeah, so I was
Yeah.
just picking up like decent lands occasionally. And early on in the draft, I was just like, you know what? There's nothing great in this pack, and there's a 6-mana artifact. Steal your turn.
Mindslaver.
Yeah, there's a Mindslaver in here, so I was just like, all right, I'm gonna pick that just because. I wound up with the fucking Academy ruins.
Yeah, I think you got trapped by that. I definitely think you should have not played.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have. I took him out for I boarded him out for a couple of like bodies, which is something the deck needed.
If Mindslaver was a creature, then it's different territory.
Yeah, because I would have been able to actually do it, but I was just too excited to be like, I mean, I'm not gonna try, but if it happens, like, if I can Mindslaver off somebody and limit it, yeah.
I think he's got like Urza and that Grand Architect from Scars in the cube.
He's got Urza?
He doesn't have Urza.
It might not have. It might not have been in the group because he had there was like a stack of like.
Yeah, there's
40 cards
there's an
like
extra draft set worth of cards in there.
Yeah, it's the cube
plus the one pack
supports 10. We had 9, and then plus the extra pack for again a conspiracy card that adds.
Which probably shouldn't be in his draft, to be honest. Like it doesn't really. It's like that one adding a pack and then the one taking a pack away. It messes up things like a lot. It's just unneeded. I like
fun.
I like Clockwork Librarian. I like Clockwork Librarian. Like take 2 picks at the cost of a 1 now.
Yeah, I like that.
That stuff's pretty cool. Deal Broker is also kind of cute.
Deal Broker's sweet.
I don't love it just because like it's so like the decision that you're making is like, did I pick something that I don't want to be running later, and then who do I offer this to, hoping to get something that actually works in my deck?
The way Tavis was doing it is backwards. So
yeah, he was.
You're supposed to reveal it.
Yeah.
That you have it.
Yeah.
Then everybody else is supposed to offer up garbage they don't want, and then you can accept the trade offer.
Yeah, but you're supposed to offer up what you're giving, and he was like, you're supposed to say, this is the card that I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to offer up for that thing? And he was trying to be like, who wants stuff I want to trade with people? Give me offers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to trade with you until you offer up what do you have.
It's a mess. Like when Jose had it, he didn't even offer me. I was just like, man, this deck really needs a guy as Kratom. He was like, yo, just give me your Infernal Titan and I got you. It's like, okay.
Yeah. No. I used the card properly. I said, hey, I have a Gaia's Cradle. Does anybody want to trade for this Gaia's Cradle? And you're like, I have a Infernal Titan. And I was like, all right. I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
He deserves this card. And then he beat me in the finals.
Yeah, he deserved to be with making that trade.
Yeah.
Boo, John. Boo, John.
It's like we won the draft.
We won the draft together. I'm so mad. I haven't won a single draft. It makes me so angry. It makes me very upset.
You know what you have to do?
What?
You have to get good.
No, shut up, Miller.
Oh, no.
Last time I had to build your deck for you,
Yes,
all right? Because you didn't know that yet. Come on.
Yeah, no.
What you got to do, Jose, is play that starter cube, and we just practice draft all the time.
Honestly,
I'm really bad at drafting.
That'd be sweet. I would love to just like practice draft a starter cube constantly. Like, just I don't even care the power level of the cube. I just want to be drafting more.
The cube is actually really fun. Like I played it with one of my homies who is very, very much into limited and sealed, and he really enjoyed it. He gave me some suggestions because the cube is obviously going to be like really cost effective.
It's your starter cube.
Exactly, it's a starter cube. But he gave me some suggestions for things to fill out the cube. Also, the guy who created the cube as well gave me some suggestions because he said it didn't quite fit exactly where they were trying to get to with the budget, but he told me that there were some cards that were missing. Yeah, they were meant to go in, but they like due to what they cost, they couldn't go in.
Okay. What are the archetypes there? Do you know?
I think there's like, I don't remember off the top, but it's like white weenie, blue white control. There's like a really weird black reanimator. It's like black red reanimator with like Garna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Blood Flame.
Yeah, and then there's like mono green Stompy, and then there's Gruul aggro, and I can't remember. I think there's just mono red burn, but yeah, there's like a lot of archetypes in there.
All right,
and of course we're talking about the Card Kingdom starter cube currently available.
Yeah, is this currently available? I know the last time that we put it up, it sold out like.
Well, yeah,
it is. I definitely packed a couple today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's
What does it run?
It's $100, right?
Yeah, it's $100, and you get all the sleeves required for it. You get all the lands required for it. Like, well, I mean, someone could run like 50 basic lands, and I guess this could be a lie, but like, you know what I mean? Like it gives you a reasonable amount of lands.
It should be enough to support it.
Exactly. Okay. It gives you enough to support the draft. It gives you enough to sleeve everything with the same color sleeves.
Okay.
And it's like just ready to go.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. It comes with 2 boxes too.
It's a full like the full cube, so it's 360. It's not like anything extra.
Yeah, and then it comes with the lands also, and then it comes with enough space to keep both the lands and the cube sleeved up in 2 nice little neat boxes.
Okay, that's sweet.
It's a good deal.
Good.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play with it myself. The other night, Chris Van Meter came around looking for people who wanted to test the newest iteration of it that will be available when they add Thrones cards to it.
Oh, hot.
So I sent a couple of my night crew people to go test with him on the clock, which is great for them. I was really happy for them because they've been killing it on night lately, and to even give some of them a chance to do something a little different. So I sent them there. They came out. They had fun. The whole draft took them probably like 2 hours for an 8-man.
Not bad.
Yeah.
That was like games too, or what?
Yeah.
Damn.
They played full on matches.
Wow, that's
Way
fast.
to go.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of Magic cubes just like as a board game, personally, because like you can just whip it out for like a party or something, and then kind of explain I mean, you're not gonna blast this out for people that don't know how to play Magic, but like you kind of want to.
I've never played Magic in my life.
What is this?
That's why I love
this Lenoir elves, and you go get a forest from
your library? You go get a forest from your library.
What do you mean left, right, left? Oh, my brain.
Yeah, no, but I mean like if you know a bunch of Magic players, you're hanging out, having a, after your Dungeons and Dragons is over.
Yeah, just like anything where intermediate level of like. You know how to play? Do you know how to tap an island and what it does when you tap it?
Yeah.
It's just a deck
I have all
game.
the commander decks pre-sleeved and things like that. It's so good.
Yeah.
Just like having
really solid. Just having something that you can just bring to the table and be like, hey, we're all just sitting around doing nothing anyway, so like let's try this out. Let's see. Try something a little bit new, a little bit fun.
It's like custom game night.
Hell
Cube's amazing. I mean, we're still talking about Cube from last night, so it's clearly it's that kind of thing that sticks with you. It's that Magic experience.
Yeah. There is, speaking of, you weren't talking earlier about building your my deck for me in Cube, Jose, but you actually built something else for me recently because you wanted to play your workshops in Vintage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you were like, come build Vintage, and I was like, I don't want to build a Vintage deck. I'm not gonna spend money on that. I want to spend time trying to figure out what's a good Vintage deck.
I think your actual response was Lamau.
Yeah, basically. So you proxied together something for me. You threw together a paradoxical outcome list.
Yeah, with sideboard included.
Yeah,
mine does not have a sideboard.
What list are you playing?
I'm playing Shops pre Mystic Forge and Karn. I mean, I added Karn Great Creator, but pre 4 copies of Karn Great Creator and 4 copies of Mystic Forge, because unfortunately nobody was playing Vintage with me at the time, but I would have loved to do that.
Yep.
That would have been sweet.
Pretty hot. Yeah, I was pretty excited about I mean, this is, we're talking about with the Legacy Cube and now Vintage, like this is some legitimately high powered Magic that we're talking about. This is pretty new to me. Yeah, like I play Commander and I play some pretty fun, nasty Commander decks, but this is a whole new level of.
Well, the way you play Commander.
Shout out to our title, High Tide.
Yeah, High Tide, baby.
The
new
tide.
High Tide.
The way that you want to play Commander that people won't let you play Commander is basically just Vintage.
Yeah.
Which is why I said, hey, Miller, you'd be perfect for Vintage. And you're like, I don't know about that, dude.
I want to play Moxen. Wait, I do want to play Moxen. I do want to play Moxen and then play a 4-mana spell that bounces all my Moxen, draws me cards for it, then I can replay them.
Also draws you a Narset, lets you, bounces back your Narset, lets you recast your Narset.
Yeah, Paradoxical Outcome is non-land permanence. You can bounce a Narset that is at 1 counter with it and then replay it with 5 counters.
Yeah, it's a stupid card.
It worked out pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, it's also really funny when I go, I don't know, turn 1, sphere, go.
Yeah,
and you're just like,
Yeah, you had 2 spheres and a Lodestone Golem at one time, I think.
Yeah, I had a Sphere of Resistance, a Trinisphere, and a Lodestone Golem.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
And then there was another game where I think I went Chalice on 0, and you're like, why would you do that? And then you looked at your hand, and you're like, oh.
No, you said Chalice on 0, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, oh no.
Yeah.
I'm like sitting on like at least 2 Moxen and like, oh no, I can't play my hand now.
And then we went to game 3.
Yeah.
Lamau.
Indeed.
Yeah. Me and Mason also played the Shops Mirror.
How'd that go, Mason?
That's right. Yeah, we were like, let's play some Vintage. And without talking to each other, both sleeved up and proxied up the same Shops lists.
Yeah, because Shops is sweet. Yeah. Actually more thought intensive than you would think.
More interaction than I was expecting. I was like, oh, it's Vintage. It's just going to be a combo offer. I'll lock you out. And then it was...
Yeah, it was a lot of headaches.
Ooh, mind blowing.
Yeah, there was a lot of the first time that I played Vintage, I was like, okay, I guarantee that it's just gonna be all right. Whoever goes first, whoever won the coin flip, just wins the game. But it turns out that is the complete opposite of what exactly happens in a game. Because sometimes your opponent just plays a Hercules Recall, and you're just like, what?
Hell yeah!
Oh my god, yeah! It just takes all your stuff and puts it back in your hand. You're like, okay.
Yeah, well,
fine.
I guess they get to have a turn now, which is kind of brutal. But then you also get the really funny turns where you accidentally out-meta your opponent.
Oh, here it comes.
On accident.
Oh, yeah.
Accident.
What is it?
Yeah, I mean, Mason remembers.
Come on.
Well, I was like, man, there's a lot of 2 CMCs in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to chalice on 2 and see what happens. Mason was like,
What turn was this?
1.
It was turn 1?
Yeah, I think I went like city, or no, I went workshop into Soul Ring into Chalice on 2, and he's just like,
So you used the knowledge of looking at your own hand in a mirror match, and you're like, well, if my hand looks this way, his must look exactly the same.
Well, no, hold on, wait a minute. No, the best part is I had enough mana to cast a Ravager too, so I cast a Ravager first, and then I went Soul Ring Chalice on 2, and he's just like,
that's actually good because that means you can kill the Chalice whenever you need
I
to.
can kill the Chalice. I had another Chalice in hand too, so I could have just cast it again if I really wanted to.
Kill the Chalice, cast a couple of things, play the same Chalice.
Yeah, but he just died to death by 1,000 lashes at that point. One.
Guess who had, like, I think at the time I had 2 freaking Ravagers in my hand.
You had 2 Ravagers, and I think if I remember right, you also had the Worker.
I did, yes.
Glorious.
Yeah. I was like, all right, this is sweet. I've got so much. Oh, on 2. Okay.
Literal incredible.
Yeah.
Land. Go.
I think you also had a Ballista too.
I did.
Yeah.
For sure.
You were like, you were probably gonna have a great time going like Shops, Ravager next turn, like, Ravager, Ballista, go.
That's Vintage. It's cool. Mm-hmm. It happens.
Yeah.
Even to the best of us.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that Vintage is really sweet. I'm a big fan of that format.
Well, that's about all we've got for you guys today. But thanks for checking in. Thanks for staying for a little while.
Yeah, we were playing some high-powered Magic over the last couple of days. Stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's been really strong.
Really been riding that high tide.
I still can't win a game. It's crazy. I don't know how.
You know what it is, Jose? It's because you're not good at Magic.
I know.
Because you're not playing Grim Flayer.
My modern deck started with 4 Grim Flayers and then 4 Goyfs. All right.
Yeah? You still playing that modern deck?
No, I sold it. It was like $3,000.
Yeah.
So.
I hope you're proud of me. The other day I was like, oh, Grimflayer bottomed out. Well, I guess I'll throw one in my card.
Yeah, I mean, Grimflayer is a sweet card. I would jam it into every EDH deck, of course.
Yeah,
that I can.
Yeah. Our classic 5-minute Grimflayer outro.
Yeah, play it in EDH, play it in Modern, play it in Legacy, play it in Vintage.
If High Tide doesn't have
play
a part that involves Grimflayer in it,
no joke,
it's not a real podcast.
Yeah,
I don't think
my Vintage deck is definitely gonna go turn 1 Deathrite, turn 2 Grimflayer, turn 3 Leovold. That's where we're at.
That would be nuts.
Don't you mean turn 1 Deathrite, turn 2 Grimflayer, and Leovold?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're playing fair. I don't need Moxes.
All right, buddy.
Okay.
All right, next turn. Wheel of Fortune. Go.
Exactly, perfect.
Right.
Literal had it every time.
Lamau.
I want to thank Amine Maxwell for allowing us to use their song Good Morning for our intro and outro music. You'll find a link to their SoundCloud in our description. Also, thank you, John, for letting us use your place to record this time around. And thank you guys so much for listening.
We'll see you next time as we planes talk to another topic.